everyone! Welcome back to Spooky Easy. My name is Jessie, your spooky storyteller extraordinaire, back at it again, alive and well, kind of. Thanks to everybody for all the well wishes that you sent to me last week. I'm so sorry I couldn't release a video. I got sick. To all the youngins out there, what happens when you don't take care of yourself in your 20s is that you develop something called acid reflux. That means that you can't eat whatever you want anymore, unfortunately, and if you do, your stomach really just wants to make your life a living hell. But I'm back, I'm alive, I can eat things again, albeit nothing too greasy or rich or whatever. I'm just on a healthy diet of Tums and granola bars at this point. But I'm back at it again. Like I said, I'm definitely going to be releasing a video as much as I can, but this is an ongoing problem. So yeah, expect that to happen sometimes. I can't control it. Actually, I can. I can't help it. There's too many yummy things to eat in this world, and I don't know what makes me sick. Today is going to be a very special story time episode of my own experience. It's not going to be a let's read. It's not going to be a let's discuss. It's going to be more, well, actually kind of a little bit like a let's discuss, but also a story time kind of meshed into one episode. And as you probably guessed from my thumbnail, today's story is going to be focusing a little bit on your pets, my pets, this pet. It's Chloe. Oh my goodness, it's a Chloe Pooperson, yes. Yes, that is her name, Chloe Pooperson Day. She's a mini poodle. She's just a little over a year old. She's very sweet, as you can tell. And she's honestly, I would say, my best friend. They're both a pain in the ass. You can probably see I put a little bit of lipstick on her by mistake already. She doesn't mind very much, especially because she harasses me so much. We kind of just harass each other in this way all the time. So when I say that I'm going to be discussing about pets today, basically I want to go over why they may see things that we can't. These little eyes and ears and nose are way better than human eyes, ears, and noses. Like, they just perceive things so much better because literally they're in tune to it. Like, by nature, these animals are meant to hunt, they're meant to track. Well, not specifically this breed, but she was bred to hunt. She's a German breed. And yes, you heard me say that right. She's a German breed, not a French poodle as people like to think. They were popularized in France, but actually they are German. They're hunting dogs. They're actually meant to hunt ducks and things like that. So she's meant to be very agile. She runs a lot. If she sees something flying, she goes after it and all that good stuff. I'm gonna let my little Chloe friend here go. She likes the camera. As you can see, she doesn't really struggle very much, but you know, she's had a long day of chasing squirrels and barking at other dogs and overall being a nuisance, so I'm gonna let her rest. Time for a nap. So I went on the internet and I looked up some facts on Google on just the scale of how much better dogs and cats are at perceiving things than we are. And let me tell you, it's super interesting because when you think about even the most sensitive nose, for example, if a woman is pregnant, they apparently can smell things 10 times worse, that kind of thing. Just imagine what a dog must feel like or smell like or hear on a daily basis. So why can dogs hear better than us? The ears of a dog are controlled by up to 18 muscles, while humans are equipped with only 6 and can only move their ears slightly, if at all. I can wiggle my ears a little. Can you see it even? It's just my eyebrow twitching. Thus, dogs can tilt and rotate their ears to funnel the sound into the inner ear far more efficiently. So because of the way their ears are designed, the ears are made to cup and move sound in, similar to the way humans can put a hand up to their ear and listen a little bit better. Dogs have better hearing than humans, both because they can hear these high frequency sounds and they can hear sounds from farther away. Cats even have even better hearing than that, apparently, according to these notes. It's no wonder that these animals can hear things like above and beyond compared to us, just because of structurally how they evolved to be able to adapt to nature, basically. When it comes to vision, there is no comparison, especially when it comes to cats. A cat, especially in the dark, they can just see everything. Cats have super unique eyes. Instead of having circular pupils like a human's, the black parts in the centers of their eyes are vertical, which can adapt quickly in both bright and dark environments. Human eyes can do the same thing, but clearly cat eyes are much more efficient for doing something like that. I mean, obviously their chances of survival out in the wild rely heavily on that just because they are supposed to hunt at night. That's when they're supposed to gather their food, right? And also watch out for predators, not to mention that. As for dogs' eyes, they can see a lot better than humans do at night, as dogs have many adaptations for low light vision. A larger pupil lets in more light. The center of the retina has more of the light sensitive cells, which work better in dim light than the color detecting cones. I've always wondered why Chloe, when she gets excited, her eyes get really red, and not like red like the whites, like how my eyes get red when I cry because I can't eat anything. No, it's the pupils that become red, and that's because I guess she's so excited that she's trying to let in as much light that she can so that she can see better and react better and play better. And their nose. There's a reason why a dog's nose is so trusted when it comes to hunting, when it comes to tracking. There are so many olfactory sensors, I hope I'm saying that right, in the dog's nose that causes them to be able to smell a lot better. You hear about these cadaver dogs that are able to track a body from, not to take it too dark, but I mean, that's why they're there. They are able to track a body from miles away just on the scent. That's incredible. And you know those drug sniffing dogs, you have those as well that can smell these narcotics and things like that. Even if they're sealed up, they still find a way to be able to smell it. And they're so intelligent that they know to notify the officer in question that's trying to detect it. According to this article, it says they possess up to 300 million olfactory receptors in their noses, compared to about 6 million in a human being. And the part of a dog's brain that is devoted to analyzing smells is, proportionally speaking, 40 times greater than our own. I mean, like, literally, this is an animal that was meant to use their nose to be able to survive, clearly. A cat's sense of smell is still very good. I mean, it has 200 million olfactory sensors compared to humans, which again, we only have 6 million. So not very good, but still like exceptional compared to us. So it's like I was saying earlier, it's no wonder that they'd be able to sense something, see something that isn't there, be able to smell something that isn't there, especially because when you hear about hauntings, a lot of the hauntings that we talk about always have something to do with the senses. Like, oh, 1 minute I could smell my dad's cologne and the next second I couldn't. I mean, that's just what we can smell. Imagine what an animal can smell. So that brings me to my story time. This takes place when I was about 12 years old. I was still in elementary school, not in high school just yet, and I was living in the bonus house. That's how we refer to our houses. When I was younger, we moved around a lot. I would say around this time, give or take, about 15 to 20 times. I am not exaggerating. Don't ask me why, it's just something that my family did. We moved around from house to house because of reasons A, B, C, D, E, F, G, whatever. And Chloe wasn't obviously my first pet. She's only over a year old now. I actually used to have cats, specifically one cat that we had bought, don't shop, but yes, we did buy this cat because we didn't know any better. At this time, there were pet stores still around that sold cats and dogs and, you know, all these animals and things like that. That's when it was still allowed to do it. So my cat, he was a brown tabby. His name was Minino. I'm going to insert a picture here. And he was actually like my best friend, like at the time. I was a really weird little kid. I'll just say that up front. If anybody is watching my channel and knows me from that time, yes, I was a weird little kid. I don't know. I just wasn't normal, to say the least. I still not. I don't know why I'm talking in past tense, but anyway. In any case, we bought this cat, and from a kitten, we raised him. He was always a little bit skittish as a kitten, but then he kind of grew to know us and knew to be more chill around us. He wasn't, I would say, like a very social cat with other people, but he would know us and he would want to interact with us and play with us. And even though he was a bit cranky, he was still like a lot of fun to hang out with. And again, when we adopted him at the time, I think I was about 10 years old. So I did grow up with him like as a child till the age he was 16, basically. He was really, really a cool cat. Some of my fondest childhood memories were with this cat because we kind of developed a kind of strange way to communicate. If you're a cat person, you kind of know how to read your cat and what they're thinking. I mean, if you grow up with an animal for that long, every day. You kind of just know how to communicate with them. So it was a real surprise to me when we had moved into the bonus house because his personality went completely 180, just completely different. He was not excited. He was not playful. He was more scared. And this is a cat that had moved already about twice in his lifetime at the time. So he was used to being in a new environment. He was used to seeing things being moved around. He wasn't the type of cat that would be finicky when it came to moving. He wouldn't pee all over the place. He wouldn't scratch up the furniture and things like that. He wasn't that kind of cat. If he was scared, he would kind of keep to his own. You would just tell from the look, don't touch me or whatever. We would know that there was something wrong with him for sure. So I'm going to explain that a little bit more, but before I do, I just wanted to let you know what I'm drinking tonight. It's a whiskey ginger. As I mentioned before in my last video, I do drink whiskey to help me alleviate the pain of the acid reflux. And while I'm not experiencing any pain right now, I still like the taste of it. What? It's just literally like 1 ounce of whiskey and the rest is ginger ale, and I had some ice in it, but it kind of melted already, but it's nice and chilled, very delicious. It doesn't have to be Dewar's or anything like that. That's what I'm using right now. It can be anything from like Johnny Walker Black Label or Chivas Regal, which is my favorite. So I hope you have your drink. Please drink responsibly as always, and cheers to you. In any case, that house always felt really off to me from the get-go. I didn't like being by myself in that house. I hated going into the laundry room. Granted, all basements are always creepy. However, I just always felt like something was always watching me. And I guess it didn't really help that I really got into the paranormal ghost hunting shows in that house. Yes, that's when I really started to delve more into ghost hunting, more into the paranormal, more unexplainable things. And I loved it from the get-go because my mom only taught me that these things were evil. You're not supposed to talk to them, tell them to go away, all that stuff. And while she's not wrong about some certain aspects, there are other aspects to show that these entities are not entirely bad. It's just they don't know where to go. I mean, are you going to yell at somebody because they got lost? In any case, that's when I started to get into shows like Most Haunted with Yvette Fielding and her team and all that stuff. This was before the whole scandal broke out about that psychic, whatever. I'm not going to go into that anyway. And because of this ghost show, I would notice some similarities. Yes, the feeling of being watched, the cold feelings, the bumps in the night, inexplicable staring at corners from my cat, these kinds of things. Logically in my brain, I was like, this matched up and that matches up. I guess we must be haunted. So I would jokingly call this ghost George because I always felt in my brain for some weird reason that he was an old guy and he just wanted to be noticed. That's what I thought anyway. In any case, when I started watching these shows, that's when most of the weird experiences would happen. Thankfully, it was around the time that we were about to move out, but they happened nonetheless. One of the most chilling experiences that I can remember vividly was my first sleep paralysis experience. As a child experiencing a sleep paralysis episode, it was completely foreign to me. I had no idea what was going on. I just knew that it was weird. What was more weird was that I actually saw something. I didn't think that it was evil. I didn't think that it was malicious. It was out to hurt me. I'll just tell you what happened so that you can think that I'm crazy. So basically, I would look down to the foot of my bed, and that's where the door was. And in my dream, I saw that the hallway, the landing to where the stairs were coming up, basically I saw somebody walk across my door from coming up the stairs across the door. It was a woman, and she had very original, a white dress on. She was a white lady with brown hair, like light brown hair. Now, as you can probably tell from me, my family, nobody looks like that in my family. Nobody has this kind of obviously Canadian lady kind of look. And certainly they didn't have this kind of dress. And not to mention that it was probably 3 or 4 in the morning. Nobody would be up at that time. So there I am, a 12-year-old little girl, looking at my door. There's a woman ever so elegantly gliding across, and she stops and she looks over at me. Like, her head turns and she looks over at me in my bed while I look back at her, obviously in shock. And I don't think that she was like malicious, like I said. I think that she was very sad. She looked very sad. I didn't feel an ounce of evil in her at all. And I've always thought that she just felt helpless. That's how I felt when I looked at her, and the way that she looked at me. We had a connection when we looked at each other. As crazy as that sounds. After some time, it felt like forever, but it was probably only like 10 seconds at the most. She looked over again toward the bathroom and she just kept on walking. And I woke up in the same position that I was in when I was looking at this lady. Like, I woke up and like I came to my senses. At the time, obviously in sleep paralysis, you can't talk, you can't move, you can't say anything, you can't scream. You know, not that I felt like I needed to, but this is what happens in sleep paralysis. You can't move a muscle. Pretty much, she disappeared and I got up and there was no one there, obviously. I was in the same position when I had woken up in my sleep paralysis state, and I was still in the same position when I got up again. Like, I slightly lifted my head is what I mean to say, to look at her, and I was still in that same position when I woke up. Now, a lot of people will argue that because it was sleep paralysis that it was just a dream. I get that. I understand that there are people that don't understand, you know, sleep paralysis. I mean, not too many people really do comprehend what sleep paralysis is, not even me. But I do know that sleep paralysis happens when someone is very stressed out. They cannot get their brain to rest properly, basically meaning that their brain is still awake while the body is trying to rest. And that happens when you're super stressed out. As a 12-year-old, why would I be that stressed out that I would be having these sleep paralysis episodes? It only happened beginning at that home after I started to watch these things on TV and I acknowledged that this presence was there. Why? So as I was saying, this was close to the time that we were moving out of the bonus house. Now when it came time to moving out, we were moving our stuff out of the house and we were busy packing everything up and, you know, getting everything out as soon as possible because we rented trucks and all that good stuff. My cat was freaking out. Freaking flipping out, like to no end. It was like he could not be consoled at all. And like I said, this cat had already moved at least twice before, and he was just not having it. He just didn't want anyone to touch him. He was running, he was hiding. So of course, the first chance we got, we did pick him up. We took him to the new place as soon as possible because, I mean, he was suffering. Clearly, he was super upset for reasons beyond us. So when we had moved everything out of the house, obviously, he was very barren, everything was out. The last step was to clean everything up, like, you know, sweep the floors, clean the kitchen, all that stuff, because we were renting at the time, so we needed to make sure that the house was nice and clean for the next tenant to move in. My school was super close to this bonus house, so after school, I went straight to the bonus house instead of the new house because my mom was in that house and she was cleaning everything and I knew my dad would be coming there to pick her up very soon. So we made arrangements for me to meet my mom and my dad would come pick us both up and we would go to the new house. So I come home, I greet my mom, and my mom is like, okay, well, I'm almost finished here. Your dad is going to be coming here soon, so why don't you go to the living room so I can finish cleaning up in here and we'll be going soon. So I go to the living room. Everything's completely gone. The only thing that's left there is my mom's jacket and her purse on the floor. And I go to sit down because I got super tired. Like, tired inexplicably. No idea why. I was completely fine before when I came home from school, but when I got home, I was just exhausted. I needed a nap. So I sit on the floor, I put my mom's coat over me so I can go to sleep, and my mom's purse was there, so I used that as kind of like a makeshift pillow, and I had a tiny little cat nap. I'm gonna use my blanket behind me just for this next part so you know what I was dealing with, like what I was looking at. So I was on the floor with my mom's coat like this. So this is the floor, this is the coat, and I could only see like an inch or so of floor, like, you know, just that, nothing above, just literally the floor. So I had my nap, maybe for about, like, not very long, maybe about half an hour. I just kind of like dozed off a bit and I woke up. And when I did wake up, as I said, there was just that inch, just the floor and my mom's jacket. And I saw a pair of brown boots in front of me, a pair of men's brown boots. And I was baffled as, you know, a 12-year-old. would be. I was asleep. I woke up and I know I wasn't dreaming at this time because I heard my mom in the kitchen. She was cleaning and everything like that. She was just, you know, doing her thing. And I felt awake. Like I didn't feel like how I did with my sleep paralysis. I could breathe normally. I moved, like I shifted a little bit, you know, to make sure that I wasn't experiencing the sleep paralysis dream that I had before. And I was normal. And yet there were a pair of brown boots in front of me. So that was weird. So as I'm blinking, you know, trying to wake up, as you do when you first wake up from a sleep, I'm blinking, 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 and on the third blink, they were gone. I had to take a moment to really figure out what was happening. I thought it was bizarre. I never experienced something visually before like that. So I get up, I look around, see no one's there. Logically in my mind, I'm like, maybe it's the next tenants that are moving in. Maybe they came in to see what the place looked like, or maybe it was the landlord. We're about to move out. They probably went to go get the keys from my mom. Logically in my mind, this is what I was thinking. So I go to my mom and I ask her, I'm like, hey, is somebody in the house? She was like, no one's here in the house. It's just me and you. Your dad's nearly here. I think he should be pulling up very soon. I'm just gonna finish everything here quickly and then we're gonna go. And I'm like, okay. And that was that. I didn't say anything to my mom. That was the only thing I asked. Is there anybody in the house? I honestly thought at the time that maybe it was a very realistic dream. But I was like, that didn't make sense because I can move. Like I could breathe. I could wiggle around. Like I knew I heard my mom in the kitchen, like these kinds of things. But again, I just pegged it off as a dream, and then we just went to the new house and that was that. I come to find later from my family that apparently they experienced things too, and I just didn't know about it. My sister would tell me that she actually saw an old man in that house, and she would see him not inside the house but outside of the house, and he apparently would just stare at her. He was at a bus stop that was close to the house, and she looked out the window and she saw him just staring at her, directly at her. Not like staring somewhere off in the distance or something. No, he was staring right at her. She was very confused by this, and when she looked away just for a moment, she looked back, he was gone. Nowhere to be seen. I mean, who could walk that fast after like a millisecond of looking away? Now that I'm older, I know a little bit better when it comes to hauntings. I feel like this one was more of a residual haunting. I don't feel like these entities were evil, malicious. I just feel like as I thought when I was 12, that they just wanted to be noticed. And when I say residual haunting, it's kind of like a memory playing over and over and over again. They just go about their lives. I don't feel like they were completely oblivious to us being there. I feel like they sensed us, at least in some way. I feel like they understood that they didn't belong. I'm not a psychic. I'm not at all. I feel like I'm a little sensitive, but not psychic. But this is just how I felt the situation going on in that particular household. And also, as I got older, it's like I mentioned before, that I found out that these entities would, you know, prey upon us by taking our energy, making us super cold, making me super tired, these kinds of things, obviously as a way to be able to communicate to us. So this was my first story time. I hope that you enjoyed it and you don't think that I'm too crazy, but if you do, it's fine, I guess. And keep in mind, this was just one house. This was not a bad experience at all. We lived in many different houses, and there are worse experiences. This one household was just a little sample of things to come. I hope that you enjoyed it in any case. I just didn't want you guys to think that I was completely bat crazy from the get-go. Not right away anyway. What did you think of my story? Have you experienced something like this similar to me? Did you have a sleep paralysis experience? Did you actually see something in front of you? I would definitely like to know about that, so please send it to my email, stories@spookyyeasy.com. I love to read stories like that, and who knows, maybe it'll be featured in my next video. Once again, thanks to everyone that subscribed to me. I can't tell you how much I appreciate it. In any case, if you're new here, please subscribe, like, and click that notification bell, and share my video. Please share my craziness. I just want to let everyone know that I'm crazy, but we're in the middle of a pandemic. Let's be crazy together. In any case, I do hope that you enjoyed today's video, and I can't wait to see you next week. Thank you so much for joining me. Ciao for now. And as you probably guessed from my thumbnail, my story... Oh my goodness, it's a pooper. It's a poo person. Yes, he's a pooper. Hmm?